Hello and welcome to the Swimming Ideas weekly mentorship meeting. Today is Thursday, May 8th, and it is 10 a.m. so in Central Standard Time. So that's right, we are talking about swimming ideas and swimming lessons and probably getting ready for, excuse me as I wiggle around here, getting ready for summer. Since it's May, we're in the full swing of getting things ready for our summer staff and summer lessons. Maybe some of you are wrapping up your swim lessons or just starting them for the summer. So I want to take today to kind of talk about what that's going to look like and how the resources on the Swimming Ideas website can benefit you in a positive way. I do these brief introductions until someone joins, because they don't always join right on time. And if no one does, I'll continue talking and then record it for future use. So essentially what we are looking at is the swim lesson website and the benefits that you have access to as a member, as a supporter. So let's go ahead and share my screen. And it looks like we're going to be doing this. So share. And here we are. So we're at our mentorship meeting. You can find it on Join Aquatic Professionals, weekly mentorship meetings. Click on the link and it'll be right in there, or it'll be right in here. Okay, so the first thing to do is you probably found this website by looking for swimming games. Now, everyone wants to reinvigorate or excite their swimmers to make their swim lessons interesting, because it can be very dry, it can be very boring. You can use our Teaching Swimming workbook as a great tool to help guide you through how to do things and what to teach in what order and how to use your language. But if you don't know kind of like what games and things to play that are both fun and effective, so things that have a purpose but are also entertaining, then this is probably the website that you found and the benefits that are in it. What I'm scrolling through now are over 100, I think there's 120 different games and challenges. And I've added a little bit of a filtering thing. It works quite well. It's not entirely fleshed out yet because it does take a lot of work to itemize all these things. But if you're gonna look at like level 1, you can click on that. And then these are curated activities and games for what we call level 1. If you want to work on freestyle, these are curated specifically for freestyle. Going underwater, it filters them out pretty quickly, and it's super effective. So I think this is going to be a really good tool as I use this more and more. The most notable one is going to be the challenges. Now, challenges are uniquely different from games, but I consider them games. Okay, so a challenge is an activity that has a clear success and fail criteria. So there's a skill you want to work on. You're going to put a roadblock in front of it or some sort of condition to make it more difficult or hard to do. And then you're going to set a clear victory or fail or success or fail condition on it. So for example, this is challenge 25, position 11, freestyle. So the core skill that you're working on is freestyle arms, reaching to position 11 with every stroke. That's for level 4. Okay, so this is where the personal challenge game where swimmers try to swim a 25, so one length of the pool, with as few strokes of position 11 freestyle as possible, which means returning the arms to position after every arm stroke. So you're kicking in position 11, you do an arm stroke, and you return back to position 11. They must continue taking strokes in the water. You can't stop swimming and just kick in position 11. You get no more than 3 kicks in position 11 before you must initiate the next stroke. And what we're looking for is powerful arm strokes and a powerful kick in order to get someone from the far side of the pool. So you have this clear condition. There's not really a roadblock here other than doing position 11 well. But what the clear fail and success criteria is, are you lingering in position 11 too long? So it's like catch-up swimming. And how do you compare to number of strokes to your peers? So if you don't have as many strokes, you succeed. And if you have more strokes, you fail. And it's okay to say fail to your swimmers. I mean, it's an activity, it's a challenge. Fail doesn't have an implicit negative bias on it. It simply means that you did not succeed in this. It was not a success. So make another attempt. And we want to teach that into our swimmers, that repetitive attempt making action. So another challenge here is the bubble blaster countdown. I think this one is pretty funny. So it's a playful, engaging swimming game designed to keep young swimmers, help young swimmers gain confidence by submerging their face and blowing bubbles underwater. So how do you do it? Each swimmers become a superhero. They use their bubble powers to defeat a friendly sea monster. So by submerging their face and blowing bubbles underwater, they activate their powers to scare away the sea monster. So this is a really fun, engaging game where the swim instructor pretends to be a sea monster. And then the superheroes need to blow their bubbles to activate their superpowers, and then they can defeat the sea monster. So to activate it for beginners, they need to blow bubbles for 3 seconds. And then as they progress, they have to do it for a longer amount of time. So the clear success and failure criteria here is the ability to blow their bubbles long enough and put their face underwater long enough or hold their breath long enough, and then you'd have to count. And then the roadblock is they have to do it for a certain duration of time. So they have to put their face in the water and hold it there for a certain duration of time. And so what this is it's an integrative, like the challenge is to hold your breath or to blow bubbles for 3 seconds underwater, right? Very simple, not very complicated. And then we add this element of fun into it, scaring away the sea monster and activating your thing. That's the play, pretend, and engagement that I can't really teach you how to do. I can lay the breadcrumbs for you to start doing things like this, but you need to engage in that theater of the mind. You need to engage in that play pretend with your 3-year-olds, 4-year-olds to get them involved in the activity in a way that doesn't make it seem like, put your face in the water, blow your bubbles, like you're commanding and directing, even though that's what you're doing throughout the lesson. You're doing it in a way that is collaborative, engaging, and interesting to your swimmers. So this play pretend should permeate throughout most of your lessons, and it can fade as you get into older and older swimmers because they don't need to have the play pretend, but it is still fun to engage in periodically. That's why those longer like sleepaway camp challenges where you draw a map on the board and then they have to go around, and storytelling is a very interesting part of swimming, and you can tie together storytelling and swimming skills and make it engaging and fun at the same time. So the primary resource is probably the the swimming games and challenges and games category. And that's all of these games and activities that you can use in a swim lesson that are both fun and effective. So they have a core skill attached to them for swimming. And by doing it, you're improving that core skill. So that's the first place I would check and look at is how can you integrate these things into your lessons? I would spend no more than 3 to 5 minutes on each lesson and pepper maybe 3 or 4 within a 30-minute lesson. If you can keep them brief, that's even better. So between 2 minutes and 3 minutes, that's really the goal. Because these should be actionable palate cleansers. It's like having the ginger after you're eating sushi. The pickled ginger because it clears your palate, or chewing on some mint between different meal choices. The goal here is to kind of allow a time for silliness and fun while still learning, and then reset their interest in activity and say, all right, now we're going to get back to the hard work of learning to be a good swimmer, swim well. And do these repetitive 3 times streamline around the loop kind of things, because that can get boring and dry, but we need to pepper in these games and activities. And by pepper, I mean you want to sprinkle it in where it happens periodically. It doesn't take over the entirety of the lesson. All right, the next thing I wanted to point at is if you go to About Resources, you're going to get a website page which has a lot of links on it, and we'll take a look at it in a second. And one of those links is the levels. So what I'd like you to do as a beginner is to look at the Swimming Ideas levels, because they are extremely effective at segmenting your population of swimmers, and they have really, really good, clear criteria in here for moving between levels and tracking progress. And so, you can look at Red Cross, and the problem I have with the Red Cross swim lessons is that they have 13 testable criteria for their level 1 class. Level 1s are 3 to 5-year-olds that don't go underwater. So what they're doing is that Red Cross is broadly applicable to everybody in all aspects, from safety to swimming skills to water comfort. It encompasses everything. And having an understanding and knowledge of Red Cross swim lessons is a good thing. It's not, it's not an inherently bad program. It is quite good. The problem I have with it is that as you get more nuanced, or as you get more fluent in teaching swim lessons, you kind of bake in these safety concepts naturally as a part of your personality. Entering the water, teaching a swimmer how to enter and exit the water. There are so many different variations about that, like how to use a ladder, how to climb out on the edge, how to use this lip versus that lip, that to prescribe that as a testable skill for a swimmer doesn't make a lot of sense. It's kind of one of those hurdle skills that you have to learn how to do in order to get in the water to participate. So why are we testing it? So what Swimming Ideas has done, and what I've done here, is trimmed out the superfluous or the excessive skills and the testable skills that don't really reflect the true metric of a swimmer's ability when it comes to swimming. So if we look at guppies here, guppies is a 2 to 4-year-old group, so ages 2 to 4. The quick test hard criteria, if you just look at someone for 10 seconds, you should be able to tell what group they're in or what level they're in. Are they between 2 and 4? And do you think they're kind of not ready to be in a group lesson? That's it. And the goal here, the main activities are just playing games. So you're just playing games in the water. So the testable skills are alligator walk, which is when you're on your stomach in super shallow water using your hands to walk and kissing the water with your mouth. Lay flat on your back in 0 depth water with your ears underwater. So this is a back float, but the ears are underwater and you're learning how to relax and be comfortable laying in your back. Follow instructions and play a 3-step game like treasure hunt. So this is, again, are you able to participate and follow instructions and being part of a group and not get distracted? And then be part of a group activity like bake a cake, so collaborative game. And then can they walk in chest deep water with supervision? So as you're watching them, can they independently move in chest deep water on their own? And that's to see if they can stand on a bench without falling over, if they can control their bodies in a way that the motion of the water doesn't knock them over. So these activities are kind of these precursors to, are you ready to be in a swim lesson? That's what this is for. So it gives you some of this clear criteria for testable skills and then what you should be doing in ages. So this is, there's 4 of them for level 1, 17, or was it 13 for Red Cross, right? So the quick test, do they go underwater? If they don't go underwater, they can't be level 2. You have to go underwater to proceed. So it's like narrowing it down to that nuanced little, most important skill for the level, and then expanding on it slightly for the testable skills so we can track progress. So do they go underwater on their own? Yes or no? If they don't, they're level 1. Okay, well, what do we do in level 1 to get them to go underwater? We do, the testable skill is underwater unassisted. So that's like a full submersion without the instructor making them do it. And then a supported front float by putting their face in the water. So the hands are on the shoulders, the hands in hands, and then the swimmer willingly puts their face in the water and holds it there. A supported back float. So again, with support, and then the ears are in the water on their back. So relaxed positioning. And then can they go underwater, rotate so that their feet are off the ground, and then stand up and then get their head above water. So that's kind of a safety thing. Like, can you stand, rotate, or go under, stand, lift your feet off, and then stand up again? That's the horizontal to vertical. So that's the precursor for doing a streamline and then standing up. Now, contrast that with Red Cross that has sit and slide in and walk in chest deep water and flutter kicking, right? So those are good things to do, and they're things that we'll do in our swim lesson. And if you follow the lesson plans, you can do those things. But are you testing someone on that? Like, most swimmers really don't have a strong kick, and if they can go underwater, if they can be supported, if they can, manipulate their body so they can go underwater and stand up again, but their kick isn't effective, should we hold them back? Well, the answer is no. We should promote them and have them learn how to kick to move as we start doing independent glides. So I'd highly recommend that you look at the levels section for under resources, because it'll give you a good idea of kind of what to look for. There's more information here in this level description guide. It's mostly covered in these here, so it's a little redundant, but it's another resource for you there. Another thing I want to point out is the podcast. So the Swimming Ideas podcast, there's 102 episodes. It's a little I don't want to say outdated, because all the information is excellent. It's not active right now. So instead of doing the podcast every month or week, I'm doing mentorship meetings instead. So this is an opportunity for you to interact with me in a way that creates a dialogue. And if you don't take advantage of it, that's okay. People's schedules are what they are. Or maybe there's nothing you really need to talk about or want to talk about. Or maybe you're camera shy. It could be one of those things. That's all right too. And what we do instead is I'll publish this as a live episode so that anyone can see it on YouTube. And then presumably tie it to the podcast. We'll see. But the podcast has a lot of great material on it. It's all very, very actionable and good. It can give you a great idea of what to expect and what to follow up on. And like I said, it's got some pretty fantastic, it looks like that page doesn't work anymore. It's got a lot of fantastic information on it. So similar to this, and we cover a wide range of projects. We have a couple of interviews. So it's a great opportunity to learn more about swimming and swimming ideas. And you can scroll through that page for more links. So the next thing I wanted to kind of highlight is, all right, so let's say you're running a swim lesson program. What does your onboarding look like? What does your training look like? And what is your longevity plan? So this is more towards agencies and people that have staff, but could also be applicable to someone who wants to get promoted in a swim lesson program, and they want to become a head instructor or a lesson coordinator or someone who administers the swim lessons. So the first thing to do is to show up for the interview and to be part of that thing. I recommend doing Teams or Zoom, because then you can do a lot more, and set up something like bookings or Calendly so that people can look at your schedule and fill in the openings on like what matches, instead of playing the back and forth email game of I'm free at this time, are you free at that time? Set up your calendar, make it accurate so that people can book time with you when you're available on their own terms. When you ask questions, you want to kind of look at getting information back that is relevant, and the question should generally be open-ended. Something like, talk to me about a time where you experienced failure. And what you're looking for is, does the person who is interviewing with you, or as the interviewer, do you recognize that failure is a part of our lives? Do you understand that when things don't go your way, you have to respond, because it's inevitable, and that's how we learn. So we're looking for that attention to personal growth and accountability, so that when they inevitably make a mistake, they fail at something, they have an open mind in order to improve on their next attempt. Which sounds very similar to all the language we use when we're teaching swimming, which is, well, that was a fail. Here's why. On your next attempt, do this. And so we're giving the prescription, we're giving the encouragement on how to do that activity or skill correctly, better, or improved with a new behavior or context. As opposed to saying, well, that was terrible, do it again. Like, that's not actionable, that's not constructive, that's not positive. Instead, it should be, that was a fail because of this specific reason, do this instead. And then you give them an action to do, and then the swimmer can do it and then succeed, and then you tell them they succeed, and now they've overcome a challenge, and you've done it together, and now you've built trust, and now you've built encouragement, and now they have that thirst for doing something better in the future. So that's why that failure question is in there. Bit of a tangent. If you're a team, you can enroll your team member on the online course, add them to the team, assign them to the training. So I have everyone do the teaching swimming online course and the level structure course. That way they know the structure of the program and they know how to teach everything, presumably. If people just click through and then take the test, brute force it, it's going to be a thing. So that's why we also have a 6-hour in-person training. So that's following the red section in the lesson coordinator handbook. You can get the PDF here if you're a member. So if you're an all access person, you can get access to it by being a member. I am, so it's here. And let's take a look at the red section. Oh, here we go. So setting expectations. So this section here, 1 through 8, is the block lesson plan for teaching a in-person swim instructor training. So if you don't have access to a team, or if you're a swim instructor, if you're by yourself, you can still go through this and take away the actionable steps. It's basically a forced interactive training where you learn how to be a swim instructor with your peers. I like to have new swim instructors shadow veterans, so hang out with someone who knows what they're doing so they can learn by experience and being there. And then teach independently with a lesson plan, so use lesson plans to your advantage. They're tools in your toolbox, and at first you'll rely heavily on them, and we strictly enforce the use of them in our lessons until people can iterate or use them, follow a lesson plan or a formula, activity challenge on their own. It takes a lot of time. If you're working once a week, it's going to take years. If you're doing this 3 days a week, 4 days a week, 5 days a week, it'll take a couple months. And then we have advanced lessons. We use a projector. We have a mentorship program, so enroll in that. Apply to be a lesson coordinator and be prepared to communicate your understanding and knowledge of the system. I would use the lesson coordinator handbook as your guide for being an exemplary employee because it's literally a prescription on how to do the job of a lesson coordinator. And this is a lot of different things. So talking to parents, interacting with your peers, addressing fear, engaging frightened swimmers, how to delegate to staff, how to collaborate with staff, how to provide objective-based tasks. So we need to have the benches in the pool by 10 a.m. We have 15 minutes. You two, can you put a team together to do that job? So that's an objective-based task. So the objective is to put the benches in the pool in a specific area. Here's your task. Go ahead and do it. And then give the person the supporting material and instructions on how to do it and do it well to your standards. How to hold people accountable, how to handle feedback and evaluations, how adults learn. There's discipline, swimming, meditation, personal growth, and swimming and meditation is awesome. So I really think that meditation and swimming go hand in hand, and they're essentially the same thing, which is a kind of an interesting thing to take a look at. It's really based around deliberate practice and deliberate effort. Meditation is the skill of honing your thoughts the way you want them to think. So not letting your mind wander. So we call it the monkey brain or the lizard brain. That's your biological body wanting to be stimulated. Your brain is like, I need stimulation. I need something to keep me occupied because I need to be entertained at all times. And meditation is the practice of keeping your thoughts on what you want them. So if you want to be thinking about solving a problem, if you want to be thinking about swimming, meditation is the practice of keeping your thoughts on something. And usually they use breath as a tactic for that because it's really boring. So as breathe, like you're always breathing, you forget about it all the time. As you focus your thoughts on breathing, you're not stilling your mind. What you're doing is you're forcing your thoughts onto something that's boring that you want it to be thinking about. It's asserting your personal control and dominance over your own thoughts. and you're training your brain to respond to your will in a way that you don't normally do unless you're deliberately practicing this. Similarly, with swimming, you have to focus your attention on this highly specific physical expression, this dance that we call swimming, and position 11 and streamline and freestyle and breathing to the side. A lot of components and a lot of precise body mechanics that a swimmer has to have control over, and that we're often asking younger and younger people to do in a more complex and specific way. So it's the same thing. You're training the person to think and act in a very highly specific and often boring way. I mean, can you think of anything more boring than looking at the bottom of a pool while you're swimming with like very precise body mechanics and motions and rhythm and flow, and then add into that the fact that you can't breathe underwater and have to, account for your breathing and somehow control it? It's a very interesting thing. I can talk a lot about it, and I'm very excited about it. So that's in the book as well. So there's a lot of resources on here that I think are very beneficial to new aquatic professionals or new swim instructors that could leverage or benefit from this kind of the website and the websites that I have. And so far, most of the things I've talked about are free. The lesson coordinator handbook is not. It's part of the membership. Or you can buy it online on Amazon. Okay, so another thing I want to point out was this IPRA Conference 2024 Aquatic Operations. So I'm in Illinois. I go to the Illinois Parks and Recreation Association Conference every year. And at the 2024 one, I was thinking about how do you administer your swim lesson program, right? Like, how do you track swimmer progress and communicate it to parents in an effective way that's not taking up all your time? And so my favorite thing is to use an online system with a table of some sort, and we use swimlessons.pro. So if you're an agency, you can get access to that website. We'll customize it for you, and then you can use it. It has a built-in blog section for daily logs. It has a built-in leadership mentorship program so that you can share that with people. It also has a built-in evaluation system so you can share evaluations with people. If you want to do a printed one sheet for each swimmer, write their name on it and then do this, you can. If you want to do evaluation report cards, you can on paper. Who does the lesson? How do you track? Let's see if this works. I don't think this site is live here. It might be. Oh, it is. Neat. Okay, so yeah, it is live here. Yeah, you're not going to be able to get anything into that right now because it's not active. But I can show you this one instead. And okay, so you have your leading mentorship, you have your daily logs. I'm not logged in, so you can't see anything. Training, there's groups. There's passwords on here and there's restrictions on here because we don't want the public seeing this stuff. But the public can see our mentorship guide and our promotion criteria because there's nothing, hiding about that. And then the whole point is to share our mentorship stuff. So this is our mentorship program, and you can see what people are working on to further their stuff. So yeah, you can use Swim Lessons Pro to kind of track your swimmer progress, to see their level skills, to evaluate their lessons. You can customize it. You can add your own lesson level skills. You can add your own testable criteria. But it's all actionable there as well. So like I said, there's a lot of opportunities and things on the website that are free that you can use to further your program and improve your program skills or your own teaching skills. And I kind of wanted to just review a couple of those things with you in this meeting that I soloed. So All right, let's wrap it up there. So this would be for May 8th, 2025, and the mentorship meeting. And tomorrow, we can teach better lessons together. Take care, everybody, and we'll see you soon.